I think what my works always do is that they kind of tend to tilt each other, and I think they they interact in that way. And there's always a viewer in there, so you need to be in there to make these connections, and they're not fixed connections. They're kind of connections that can be in flux. There's two bronze sculptures which are kind of dummies. They're sort of heads. They're cast from microphones, from binaural microphones, which were designed in the 1970s to early 80s. And they kind of borrow so much from early modernism, and like they refer to like Brancusi heads, and at the same time they're very Art Deco. And through the change of material, because usually they're sort of black plastic, so the change of material, you have all these references that could be quite chronologically really disparate. So they look kind of cycladic at the same time, and at the same time they look like something made in the 1930s, 1920s. The image with the cat, that image is called Octopus. So as a work on its own, it's called Octopus. When I saw my cat doing this, I instantly thought of it's quite a well-known image in general, like octopus hiding inside a clamshell or a coconut shell. But a cat, obviously, the genetic link to an octopus is rather tenuous. So what I find really sweet is the connection through a kind of affect situation where the cat finds solace in the same shape that an octopus does. And really it's much about comfort as well, and feeling safe. The connection between the cat and the strings pieces is just as tenuous, and it's really because the strings piece is written in an entirely glissando movement, so all the notes just slur into each other. The way they do it is the way a cat sort of treads, so they behave in a similar way to how a cat walks. I was trying to make a set of musical works that would be very strongly sculptural in the way that they are performed and in the way that they're written. So one was a string quartet, which was revolving around the idea of three notes which descend, and as 3 points in space, as they shift, they define different planes. So the same thing happens in music. You have three notes are enough to define a harmonic plane, which is like a chord. And as soon as they start shifting, then you have a pivoting movement. So that became the string piece that's central to the show. The musical pieces are very particular in that they're tonal and their structure is very object-like. For example, the harpsichord, for me, the visual equivalent of the color range, the frequency range of a harpsichord is a bismuth crystal. If you look at the spectrogram of the frequencies this instrument produces, it really is like the colors of the rainbow. It has like really sharp highs, it's got really full lows, and it has so many harmonics. And it's really angular, so it has the same kind of structure, as the same kind of color as a bismuth crystal. And then what I'm doing with that piece in Reading Room, the film, is it's kind of a song that's enacted by a series of actions, and is repeated every time there's 5 bars. So it kind of, and the music itself is a harmonic chain, so it kind of, it makes a shape, and then that harmonic shape is repeated. It jumps tonality and is repeated again, and then it jumps again and is repeated again. So it kind of does what the bismuth crystal formation does. It completes a circle around itself and starts again, which is like a crystallic kind of formation. There is a recycling that happens a lot in my work. And the piece, for example, is the strings piece also exists as a musical piece in an album. The image of the cat also exists as music. The text from these poems are borrowed and recycled through the practice itself. And for example, what I like about the brass is that it does register your fingerprints. It's like it records things again. And again, the act of etching music onto a vinyl record and That's again a very kind of material manifestation of information, similar to how you read a book or to how you read these ribbons in a directional kind of way. In the way that I'm trying to keep things open in their meaning, I'm also trying to keep them very kind of genuine as to where they come from. For example, the object in the prison was chosen by a sea urchin. So I think what links things together are parts of structure, elementary vocabulary, and intuition kind of methods. The work is meant to be reflexive and is meant to be open to interpretation as well.